So what do I mean by not a koi pond, koi pond? Well, what I mean is we wanted a garden pond which should work as an ornamental garden pond, even with no fish in it. Many dedicated koi ponds often are raised above the ground, have windows in the side and are stunning as koi ponds, but just don't work as an ornamental pond in their own right. So we wanted a pond which would work in its own right, even if no fish were in it. Though of course in our case it has to be able to support koi carp as well. And this is what I built. I designed it to look like it's set into the patio, almost part of it, and I designed it to have no visible koi equipment of any kind. Of course there is a filtration system, quite a large filtration system, and I did a separate video about this which you can see if you click on the link. And this shows the pump house I built, and it also shows the relative positions of the vents at the back of the pond, and the cabin I built my wife. Also shows some of the ground levels I had to change and the reinforced concrete wall I had to build. There's a view of the sequoia, which I'm trying desperately to bonsai, and here's another view of the pond in its surroundings and the patio. So when I built the pond, I didn't go with a reinforced concrete base. Instead, there's a reinforced concrete beam as a foundation for the walls, which you'll see here as the purpley coloured line. Onto that I built the concrete blocks. They act as a surface on the inside of the pond to render to. They also act as shuttering for the concrete behind, which you can see is also reinforced. The blocks all have wall ties which tie them into what will become an extremely strong reinforced concrete wall, which is the entire perimeter of the pond for its full height. Again, particularly important given the poor surrounding soil, which has mostly been moved around by myself. And here is the pond much further along its construction. You'll notice how shaped the floor is to allow the movement of debris towards the bottom drain. This kind of floor is not on a reinforced base. However, the concrete walls, as you can see, are in place now and are extremely thick, and they're going to go nowhere. There you can see the inlet, which is a 4-inch, which is gravity fed, which will be directional adjustable. There's the skimmer. The skimmer will be set under the surrounding path, so you won't be able to see it in normal use. And here's my take on the bottom drain, which is a 90-degree inverted pipe with a gap at the bottom. Basically, if it can suck it up, it can suck it through. Back to the finished pond. The first glimpse of some of the fish. All the sheds I built and the cabin I built my wife and all the fencing is all made from the same job lot of pressure treated tongue and groove timber. It wasn't always this tidy. This shows the view of an absolute Armageddon just before I began to build the pond itself. I'd just finished the log cabin at this stage. Another view of the surroundings. Most of the shrubs were in pots for a few years before I actually put them in the ground. They were much smaller when I bought them. With the exception of the larch, which my wife bought me as a birthday present. When all the needles fell off in the winter, we thought we'd killed it, until we realised, of course, that it's deciduous. So you couldn't really say we're experts. The granite is from Mount Sorrel. It's effectively railway ballast. There's approximately 20 plus tons in this back garden, all barrowed and placed by hand. And the first proper view of the fish. So at this stage I need to apologise to proper koi keepers because these are not Japanese koi. They are average grade Israeli koi. I bought them as a job lot. The smallest one's 24 inches, the largest one's 29 plus now, I think. But we still love them. So as part of my plan to make sure you couldn't really see it's a koi pond with koi equipment, the skimmer is hidden. And there it is. Another view of the fish in the pond. Bottom centre you can see the bottom drain just about, and top right and left you can see where the skimmer is under the first slab and the inlet under the other slab. The water is nicely clear, as you can see. This is the little waterfall feature that I built. Another good view of the bottom drain. Virtually no algae in the pond. The anoxic filtration is helping there with very low nitrates. So that was a quick tour of our nicely maturing pond in our garden. I hope you find it interesting.